To create summaries in blockr, we're going to introduce two new blocks. So let's start with some penguins data. Here we've just applied a filter to remove any missing values. Now let's start by hitting append block, and then we type sum for summarise. We see there's two aggregate blocks, one basic and one advanced. And what these blocks do is allow us to collapse our data into a single row or a single summary. So we'll start with the simple use case. How this works is we create the name of the column or the summary we want to make. So here, let's say we want to calculate the mean build depth. We select a function. Here we're going to pick mean. And finally, we pick the column we're going to apply that function on. So let's pick build depth. And what happens is it finds the build depth column in the dataset, calculates the mean, and returns it as a single row summary. Now, we can add multiple summaries to create different columns in our output summary table. So let's say we also wanted to calculate the max build depth. We could do that by selecting the max function and again hitting build depth. And now we get the max build depth as 21.5 and mean build depth as 17.1. Okay, nice. But let's say we wanted to look at this across different species of penguins. We can also group by, and here we're going to pick species. And now it calculates these summaries across each of the different groups, i.e. each of the different species. The second type of summary block that exists is a more advanced block, which allows us to write our own custom expressions. So we're going to do the same thing. Let's calculate the mean build depth. But this time, instead of picking a function, we're going to write the function ourselves. So we have autocomplete to show which function is available. And now we can type build depth. And again, autocomplete will help us find the right column. Hit submit, and it calculates the build depth. Again, we can layer different expressions. So now we're going to calculate the max build depth again. And autocomplete will help show us what we've got. So we can click this max. And again, use autocomplete to find our column. So build depth, hit submit. And just like before, we've calculated the same summary statistics. And also, like before, we can also use some group bys. So here we're going to group by species. And just like before, we end up with the same output. Let's put these two things side by side. We'll toggle off the inputs. And now we can compare the two methods and see that we end up at the same result.